planet so deadly no one survives its first night. But today a rookie will try. The small shuttle landed roughly on the rocky surface of the Deathworld. Dust and small stones flew into the air as the engines shut down. The air was thick with a strange smell, sharp, bitter, and almost burning. The rookie, named Jax, stepped out of the shuttle. His heart pounded in his chest. This was no ordinary planet. This was the deadliest place in the galaxy. Jax looked around. The sky was dark purple with two suns far away, barely lighting the landscape. The ground was cracked and dry, with strange glowing plants here and there. Huge mountains rose on the horizon, and the wind howled through the rocks like a wild animal. The air was thin and every breath felt heavy. He had trained for years, but this was his first real test. Jax pulled his mask tighter over his face. The air was poisonous. If he took off the mask for even a few seconds, he would start coughing, his lungs burning. He carried a small tank of purified air, enough for a few hours. But he had to find a way to breathe without it soon, or he would not last the night. He checked his equipment. A small pack with some food, water gel packs, a survival knife, and a simple tool to set up. A shelter. His weapon was a laser pistol, low power but reliable. The Deathworld was known for giant predators, creatures so strong and fast that no one escaped once they attacked. Jax's mission was clear: survive. The planet's first night was the hardest. No one had ever lived past it on this place. But Jax was determined. He was not just any rookie. He was trained to adapt, to learn fast, and to fight for his life. He began walking. The ground cracked under his boots. Strange sounds echoed from the dark caves nearby. A sudden rustle in the bushes made him stop. His hand went to his pistol, but it was only a small lizard-like creature. It ran away quickly, disappearing into the rocks. The sun was setting fast. Soon the two suns would disappear behind the mountains, and the cold, dark night would take over. Jax knew he had only a few hours to find a safe spot and set up his shelter. He found a small valley between two cliffs. It was narrow and looked like a good place to hide. He worked quickly, pulling out the shelter kit. The shelter was small, made of light metal frames and a thick, transparent shield that would block poison air and keep out predators. As he set up the shield, he felt eyes watching him. He looked around but saw nothing but shadows. The Deathworld was full of predators hiding in the dark. They waited for careless travelers like him. His breath grew faster. The mask's filter was running low. He knew he needed to finish the shelter. He checked his watch. Only 30 minutes left before the suns were gone. Jax pulled out a small scanner. It beeped quietly, scanning the area for life signs. It showed some small creatures moving far away. But one large heat signature was getting closer, fast. Jax's heart jumped. He grabbed his pistol and aimed toward the valley entrance. The sun was gone now. Darkness covered everything. Suddenly, a huge shadow moved quickly near the rocks. Jax could hear heavy breathing and growls. His fingers shook as he held the pistol steady. The creature stepped into the faint light of the shelter's shield. It was massive, taller than a man with thick muscles and glowing red eyes. Its skin was covered in sharp spikes and its jaws looked strong enough to crush bones. Jax's mind raced. He knew fighting this creature without better weapons was suicide. He tried to stay calm and make no sudden moves. The creature circled the shelter slowly. It sniffed the air, growling low. Jax could see its sharp teeth, dripping with saliva. The creature tried to find a way inside. Jax remembered the shelter's emergency alarm. If he triggered it, it would send a loud noise and light, maybe scaring the creature away. But it could also attract other predators nearby. He had to decide fast. Wait silently and hope the creature leaves, or risk the alarm and face what comes next. The creature growled louder and started banging its massive claws against the shelter's shield. The metal frame shook. Jax's pistol fired once, but the laser only hit the shield, making a small spark. The creature roared, a sound so loud it echoed through the valley. The ground trembled under its feet. Jax's breath caught in his throat. The shelter was strong, but could it hold against this beast all night? The creature stopped and stared directly at Jax through the shield. Its eyes burned with hunger and anger. Jax's mind raced through every survival lesson he learned. He knew he needed a plan. Fast. He activated the emergency alarm. A bright red light flashed, and a loud siren filled the air. The creature jumped back, startled by the noise. It growled again but decided to retreat into the darkness. Jax collapsed against the shelter wall, his heart pounding. He looked at the stars above and whispered, "I made it through the first night. Maybe." But the Deathworld was not done with him yet. Will Jax survive the deadly nights ahead? Can a rookie become a warrior on this cruel planet? Jax woke up to a cold, sharp pain in his side. He blinked slowly, trying to remember where he was. The shelter was still standing, the faint hum of the shield filling the small space. The massive creature from last night was gone. But Jax knew this was only the beginning. He pushed himself up and checked his gear. The air filter was almost empty. He had less than an hour of clean air left if he stayed inside. Outside, the Deathworld's poisonous air waited. Jax knew one thing. He could not stay hidden forever. The sun was rising now, one of the twin suns casting a weak orange light on the rocky surface. Daytime on the Deathworld was dangerous too, but at least the predators were less active. Jax put on his mask and stepped outside. The world looked different in the light. The glowing plants shimmered with strange colors. Strange insects buzzed in the dry air. The ground was littered with broken bones and sharp stones. It was a world made to kill. Jax knew he needed water. Without it, he could not survive more than a day. But water was rare on this planet. He pulled out a small scanner again, hoping it could find any signs of water nearby. The scanner beeped softly, pointing him toward a narrow canyon to the east. Jax moved carefully, his eyes scanning the area for movement. Every shadow could hide a predator. Every sound could be a warning. As he walked, he found strange footprints, large clawed marks in the dirt. He guessed they belonged to the creature from last night. The footprints led toward the canyon, too. Jax's heart raced. He could turn back and find another place, but water was more important than fear. He moved faster but stayed low. The canyon was narrow and winding. Strange plants grew from cracks in the rocks, some glowing softly. Suddenly he saw it, a small pool of water hidden under a thick bush. Jax rushed forward, scooping water into his bottle. As he drank, he heard a low growl behind him. He froze. Slowly, he turned. Two glowing eyes stared at him from the shadows. A smaller predator, fast and dangerous. Jax raised his pistol, but the creature lunged before he could fire. He dodged just in time, the beast's claws scratching the air where he had stood. Jax aimed and fired. The laser hit the creature's side and it yelped, then ran away into the darkness. Jax's hand shook. That was close. He had to be ready for anything. He decided to set a trap near the water pool, using some of his limited supplies. Maybe it could warn him if more predators came. Back at his shelter, Jax worked on improving it. He patched holes, strengthened the shield, and added noise traps, simple devices that would ring if anything large moved nearby. Hours passed. Jax ate some food and rested, but he could not stop thinking about last night's creature and the close call at the water. He checked his scanner again. There were strange signals nearby. Maybe other survivors? Or enemies? Jax knew he was not alone on this planet. As night fell again, he prepared his shelter for another attack. The air grew colder, and the darkness felt thicker. Suddenly, his noise trap rang loudly. Jax grabbed his pistol and looked outside. A figure moved slowly near the edge of his light. Another person. Jax's heart pounded. Was this friend or foe? The figure stepped closer, hands raised. It was a woman wearing a patched suit and a tired face. "I'm not here to hurt you," she said quietly. "Name's Mara. I've been surviving here for months." Jax lowered his pistol, relief flooding him. But he knew trust was dangerous on the Deathworld. Mara shared her story, how she had learned to find food, make weapons, and fight the predators. Together, They planned to explore more of the planet. Mara showed Jax how to make traps and find better shelter spots. For the first time, Jax felt hope. Maybe he could survive here. Maybe he could even thrive. But the Deathworld was full of secrets and dangers, and the biggest threat was still waiting. Will Jax and Mara survive the night, together? What secrets does the Deathworld hide? The cold wind whispered through the cracked rocks as Jax and Mara stepped cautiously into the shadowy valley. Jax felt different today, stronger, sharper. The nights on Deathworld were still deadly, but something inside him was changing. "Ready for your first hunt?" Mara asked, her eyes gleaming with a mix of challenge and encouragement. Jax swallowed hard and nodded. He had to prove to himself that he could survive, not just hide. Today he would face a predator on his own. The sun was low, painting the sky orange and purple. The air still stung Jax's lungs, but the mask helped. He gripped his laser pistol tighter and scanned the rocky ground. Suddenly, a rustle near the bushes caught his attention. His heart jumped. "Stay calm," Mara whispered. "Wait for it." From the shadows, a medium-sized creature stepped out. It looked like a lizard, but with sharp teeth and glowing eyes. It moved fast, its muscles tense, ready to attack. Jax's breath caught. This was his test. The creature sniffed the air and suddenly charged. Jax fired once. The laser beam hit its side, making it screech. The creature turned, furious, and lunged at him. Jax dodged just in time, his pistol firing again. This time, the beam hit its neck, and the creature collapsed with a heavy thud. For a moment, silence fell. Jax stared at the fallen beast, chest heaving. He had killed it, his first kill on Deathworld. Mara smiled, a rare warmth in her eyes. "You did good. That was no easy fight." Jax felt something change inside him, a surge of strength and focus. His body felt sharper, his senses clearer. He looked down at his wrist. A small device blinked. A new skill unlocked. Survival instinct. Mara explained, "The planet changes you. When you grow stronger, you gain powers. It's how you survive here." Jax felt a new confidence rising. He wasn't just a rookie anymore. He was a hunter. But then, a sound from the distance shattered the calm. A low growl, deeper and darker than before. Mara's face tightened. "That's no ordinary predator. Something bigger is coming." Jax grabbed his pistol. The air seemed colder, heavier. Suddenly, from behind the rocks, a large shadow moved fast. It was a level 50 Deathworlder, a fierce, armored warrior who ruled this part of the planet. The warrior's eyes locked on Jax and Mara. "You don't belong here," he said, voice cold and hard. "Leave now or die." Jax stepped forward, feeling the new power in his veins. "I'm not leaving," the warrior sneered, drawing a huge energy blade. "Then fight." A tense battle began. Rocks flew, lasers fired, and the ground shook under their feet. Jax dodged, rolled, and fired with all his might. Mara joined in, throwing traps and throwing knives. But the warrior was fast and skilled. He pushed them back, forcing them to retreat. Jax's mind raced. He was outmatched, but not defeated. He had to learn, grow, and come back stronger. As the warrior disappeared into the night, Jax looked at Mara. "This planet will make us ruthless. We have to get ready." Mara nodded. "The real fight is just beginning. Can Jax rise from rookie to ruthless? Will he defeat the level 50 Deathworlder and survive the planet's horrors?" The Deathworld was darker than ever. The twin moons cast eerie shadows across the rocky ground, and the cold wind carried whispers of danger. Jax and Mara moved quietly through a narrow canyon, their senses sharp, their weapons ready. They knew the planet was hunting them. Every step could bring a new threat. Suddenly, a flash of movement caught Jax's eye. He stopped and raised his pistol. From the shadows emerged a tall figure, armored in sleek, black plating that seemed to drink the light. His helmet was sharp and angular, hiding his face completely. This was no ordinary enemy. This was the level 50 Deathworlder Jax had seen before, the ruthless rival who had warned them. The figure stopped a few meters away, voice low and dangerous. "You're stronger than I thought, rookie." Jax tightened his grip. "I'm not running." The rival chuckled darkly. "You should. This planet isn't for weaklings. Leave now, or you'll die." But Jax stood firm. "I belong here. I'll fight if I must." The rival's eyes glowed red behind the helmet. "So be it." Without warning, he lunged forward, energy blade flashing. Jax dodged, firing his laser pistol, but the shots barely scratched the rival's armor. The two clashed in a deadly dance. Blades clashed, sparks flew, and the ground trembled under their fight. Mara watched from the side, shouting warnings, and throwing traps to slow the rival down. Jax was pushed back, feeling the rival's strength. Each strike was harder, faster. The rival fought like a beast, experienced and merciless. Just as the rival was about to deliver a crushing blow, Jax rolled aside and fired a precise shot to the rival's side. The armor cracked slightly. The rival growled and retreated into the darkness, but his message was clear. "You're a fool to stay," he said over his shoulder. "But if you want to die, I'll be waiting." Jax's chest heaved. He wasn't beaten, but this was only the beginning. The rival was a shadow over his journey, a reminder of the deadly challenge ahead. Mara placed a hand on Jax's shoulder. "We need to train. We need to get stronger." Jax nodded, determination burning in his eyes. "I'll be ready." The Deathworld was cruel and unforgiving, but Jax was no longer just a rookie. He was a fighter. Will Jax overcome the ruthless rival? Can he survive the Deathworld's deadly game? The cold wind cut through the narrow canyon like a blade, but Jax felt a fire inside him that no chill could extinguish. He and Mara stood at the edge of a small plateau, looking out over the harsh, unforgiving landscape of the Deathworld. "Training starts now," Mara said, her voice steady and firm. "If you want to survive, you have to learn faster than the planet can kill you." Jax nodded. He knew this was no ordinary training. This was a battle for survival, every lesson a step closer to becoming ruthless. For days they worked together. Mara taught Jax how to read the signs of the planet, where water hid beneath the cracked earth, how to sense the subtle vibrations of predators moving nearby, and how to use the strange alien plants for food and medicine. She showed him how to craft better weapons from scraps, sharpened metal spikes, throwing knives, and improved traps that could capture even the deadliest creatures. Jax's muscles ached from the constant drills, but he welcomed the pain. Every bruise was proof of progress. One afternoon, Mara led him to a hidden cave deep in the mountains. Inside, ancient carvings covered the walls, symbols and drawings telling the story of the Deathworld and the warriors who had fought to survive before. "This planet has secrets," Mara said, tracing a hand over a faded symbol. "Knowledge is power. The more you understand, the stronger you become." Jax spent hours studying the carvings, feeling something awaken inside him. A connection to the planet, a new sense of purpose. His senses sharpened. He could hear the distant footsteps of a predator, smell the faint scent of poisonous plants, and feel the ground's tiny tremors beneath his feet. One morning, while hunting alone, Jax felt the change fully. A low growl sounded behind him and a pack of small vicious creatures charged, but this time Jax was ready. He moved with speed and precision, dodging their attacks, firing his laser pistol with calm accuracy. He used traps Mara had taught him to set, turning the attackers against each other. When the last creature fell, Jax felt a rush of energy. His wrist device beeped. Another power unlocked. Enhanced reflexes. He smiled, knowing he was growing stronger, becoming the ruthless warrior the Deathworld demanded. But the planet was never kind. One night, Mara warned him quietly. "The level 100 Deathworlder is real, and he's hunting you." Jax's eyes hardened. The final challenge awaited, and he would face it head-on. Will Jax's training be enough? Can he survive the ultimate test on this deadly planet? The Deathworld's nights grew colder and darker. The twin moons hid behind thick clouds, leaving the land in near-complete blackness. Jack sat near the fire, sharpening his blade with steady hands, eyes never leaving the shadows beyond. Mara stood beside him, silent but alert. Both knew what was coming. "The level 100 Deathworlder," Mara said softly, breaking the quiet. "He's the deadliest. Stronger, faster, and smarter than anything we've faced." Jack swallowed hard. For months he had trained, survived, and fought to reach this moment. But nothing could fully prepare him for facing the planet's top predator. A warrior rumored to be unstoppable. "Where is he now?" Jax asked, voice low but steady. "Close," Mara replied. "His scent is in the air. His footsteps shake the ground. He's hunting you." Jax's grip tightened on his blade. The device on his wrist blinked. His survival powers ready, but would they be enough? Suddenly, the night exploded with movement. From the darkness, a massive figure appeared, towering over the rocky terrain. The level 100 Deathworlder. His armor was black as night, reflecting no light. His eyes glowed an angry red, burning with deadly focus. A massive energy sword crackled in his hand, casting sharp shadows. Jax stood and faced him. "I'm not afraid." The pure Deathworlder laughed, a deep, cold sound. "You should be." The battle began. The warrior moved with terrifying speed, slashing the air with his sword, sending sparks flying. Jax dodged and rolled, firing his laser pistol, but the warrior's armor barely flinched. Jax used every skill he had learned, traps, speed, instinct. The fight took them across rocky cliffs, through narrow caves, and over glowing plains. Each strike was closer, each moment more dangerous. At one point, the Deathworlder knocked Jax to the ground, towering over him, ready to finish the fight. But Jax's new power surged. Survival instinct flared, giving him strength and speed beyond normal limits. He dodged the final blow and struck back with all his might. The warrior stumbled, surprised. Jax seized the moment, delivering a powerful strike to a weak spot in the armor. Sparks flew, and the Deathworlder growled in pain. The fight was far from over, but for the first time, Jax saw a chance. He wasn't just a rookie anymore. He was a survivor. Will Jax defeat the level 100 Deathworlder? Is this the end of his deadly trial? The rocky ground trembled beneath Jax's feet as the final battle reached its peak. The twin moons shone faintly through the thick clouds, casting long shadows over the jagged cliffs. Jax faced the level 100 Deathworlder, the deadliest warrior this planet had ever seen. The giant's red eyes burned with rage, and his massive energy sword crackled with deadly power. Jax's breath was steady. His body was tired, bruised, but his mind was sharp. Every lesson, every fight, every moment of pain had led him here. The Deathworlder charged, swinging his blade with a force that could cut through stone. Jax dodged, rolling to the side, and fired his laser pistol. The shots barely scratched the enemy's armor, but they bought him time. Jax's wrist device beeped, his final power unlocked. Ruthless precision. His hands moved faster, his aim sharper. He could see the weak points in the enemy's armor more clearly than ever before. With careful steps, Jax closed the distance. He dodged the giant's swings, waiting for the perfect moment. Then it came. A small gap in the armor near the Deathworlder's left shoulder. Jax struck, firing a precise blast. The armor cracked and sparks flew. The Deathworlder roared, swinging wildly, but Jax was faster. He moved behind the giant and thrust his energy blade into the gap. A burst of light and sound filled the air. The Deathworlder stumbled and fell to his knees. Jax stood over him, breathing hard. The giant looked up, eyes wide with shock. "You survived," he gasped. Jax nodded. "I didn't just survive. I became ruthless." The Deathworlder smiled, weakly. "You are worthy." With that, the giant warrior closed his eyes and slipped into silence. Jax looked out over the Deathworld, a harsh, dangerous place that had tested him at every step. But he had won. He had gone from rookie to ruthless. The planet was no longer just a deadly world, and it was his home, and Jax was its new master.